Conseiller d'État, Monsieur Melli, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. Also on behalf of the Swiss government, a warmly welcome to the 6th Sino-Swiss High-Level Dialogue on Water Management here in Crans-Montana in Switzerland. Water is the principle of the element of things. All things are water. This quote from the Greek philosopher Thales of Miletus can be reduced to 3 words. Water is life. Without water, we know there is no food, and without food, no existence. A lack of basic resources leads to conflict, violence, and migration. Therefore, we have a big interest to be efficient on all our resources and especially to take care about water. Switzerland is lucky to have rich water resources of high quality. Although we are a small country, we possess 5% of the water resources of whole Europe. A major part of this water is stored in our lakes, in our glaciers, and in our groundwater bodies. Every year, 60 billion cubic meters of precipitation renew about a third of our stored water resources. The management of these water resources is very important. Traditionally involves 3 aspects. First, using water bodies and their forces. Second, protecting water bodies. Third, protecting against the forces of water. Only 2% of annual precipitation is used as drinking water. When we calculate also the requirements of industry, of agriculture and commerce, this figure rises to 4%, but it's a small amount of water for drinking water. In Switzerland, half of the drinking water can be used directly without treatment from its source. In comparison with other countries, this situation is very favorable, but this is not simply taken for granted. We worked very hard in all local communities for many years. The water supply infrastructure has to be permanently managed, maintained, and permanently renewed. Water is not only used as drinking water, but also to produce energy. So in my capacity as Minister of Energy, this is also a very important element of our energy policy, and we still have a potential to produce more hydropower. Hydropower in Switzerland has also a very long tradition. Around 500 hydropower plants produce about 50% of our Switzerland's electricity output. Swiss hydropower plants are not only a source of energy, they also store energy, like you have seen yesterday at Camp-Dixence. At times of low energy demand, they pump water to elevated reservoirs. At times of peak energy demand, this water can be used to produce electricity. Now, with very low prices in the European market, we will change a little bit the business model, but still storage of energy and the pumping storage model is a model of the future. When it comes protecting of water bodies, we talk about 2 aspects. Firstly, protecting water as an essential resource, and secondly, water in its function as an ecosystem. In recent centuries, incautious use and also waste of water has caused considerable problems and concerns about our water quality. Sewage plants were built in order to control the quality of municipal wastewater and industrial wastewater and to reduce the concentration of nutrients. Significant improvements have been achieved in the meantime. Today, water is of such good quality that people can swim in any lake or river, and it is even possible to drink water directly from most rivers and lakes in Switzerland. However, we continue to increase our quality because we have new elements also as an effect of our society. So the problem for the moment is micropollutants. They represent a new challenge. Significant revaluation is required so that the water treatment infrastructure can deal with the new challenge of micropollutants. Here, again, we work together with the cantons, with the municipal level, and the population also takes a part of the costs for the new infrastructure which is required. When we talked about protecting against the forces of water, I know where I speak from. I was born in a region when we regularly had our rivers flooding the whole village, and this caused damages to the properties, to the farmers, and therefore we learned about the history and decided it's better to invest in protection measures than only wait another disaster. Every year, flooding on average causes economic damage and a significant number of deaths and injuries all over the world. The damage caused by flooding is therefore the most significant natural hazard also in Switzerland. To improve this situation, we invest to reducing flood risks. Flood risk management is based firstly on prevention. Prevention involves land use planning, reinforcing existing and building new infrastructure against the effects of natural hazards, technical flood control measures on rivers mainly, and also maintaining protective forests, especially in regions like here when we have a lot of forests also protecting the villages. Secondly, on readiness and the ability to respond in an emergency. This includes good flood forecasting and well-established processes for warning and emergency planning. You can look on internet. We have established a system of information with all big rivers and lakes that every citizen can every minute overlook. What is the situation of the Rhone? What is the situation of lakes who could have a flooding risk? So you can protect your boat on the lake or your house or whatever it is. Thirdly, on recovery. Recovery includes also an insurance system to help cover the cost of the damage and building more robust infrastructure after a disaster. So for Switzerland, it was also important to have the insurance sector, all these companies as partners in the establishment of the high-risk measures, and they are also give us good advice, and also the owners of properties good advice where we can improve the system to avoid damages. And more, this attitude also is recognized all over the world. Perhaps you remember Katrina in the United States. So also here, prevention, insurance measures have been a good advice, and I think that's the best thing also for the future, especially for China. To provide a suitable basis for flood risk management, in the last 10 years, hazard maps have been drawn up and now are available for all regions of Switzerland. Water management with these three aspects, the use of water bodies and their forces, the protection of water bodies, and protection against the forces of water, is therefore an exceptionally challenging and complex task. Water management and climate change are vital issues in many countries, not least China and Switzerland. Recent research has shown that both countries are particularly vulnerable to the effects of global warming. Switzerland aims to reduce greenhouse gases and has also established a strategy for adapting to the effects of climate change. It is important to remember that water management and climate change don't stop at countries' bodies. International cooperation is of the highest importance. I am therefore delighted that one of the best examples of this kind of cooperation is the collaboration between China and Switzerland. Especially in water management, we work now together for more than 10 years, and this cooperation has become a very active process of exchange between our two countries. Mutual benefits come not only from the regular high-level dialogue, like this week on the 6th event here in Crans-Montana, which Switzerland is honored to host. Mutual benefits also come from several joint projects within the scope of this cooperation. I am very satisfied that in Xinjiang province a warning system has been established successfully, and I think these joint efforts with Chinese and Swiss specialists are a good example. It can alert more than 1 million people and allows them to prepare measures against the destructive force of floods regularly caused by a glacial lake. In addition, I am delighted to see that joint Chinese and Swiss technology has been applied to improve flood forecasting and integrated risk management in the Han River Basin, a tributary to the Yangtze River. And I am pleased that detailed discussions are taking place between Chinese and Swiss experts on establishing a high-level dam safety management system, including regulation, organizational and technical measures. Mr. Hess told about the huge amount of dams you have in China, and I think when Swiss technology here can help you also to install a management system, a safety management system, this is also a very good example of the fruitful cooperation. I'm happy to learn that this cooperation will be continued and expanded with a project on integrated risk management in the Jinja River Basin. And we have the experts here today from the region, and I welcome them, especially because I think also here the groundwater management in Hebei province is a very good example of another fruitful cooperation. It fits very well in the joint projects in the context of other good examples of cooperation between China and Switzerland. We have an MOU also in the environmental sector. We have an MOU on forests, and you know all that Switzerland was the first European country to sign also a free trade and partnership agreement with China. So we have a huge bottle of different instruments to work together. This 6th high-level dialogue on water management will give us, therefore, a good opportunity to exchange recent findings on water management and climate change, and to discuss progress and the upcoming activities in our cooperation projects. Although we have been actively working towards sustainable water management for decades, we have to do more for our future, not only in Switzerland, but all over the globe. For people are slowly becoming aware of how serious the situation is and how important the resource water is. We consume still too much of water. Global consumption of water is too high. When we consume a cup of coffee, like this morning at breakfast, 140 liters of water are required. When we consume 1 kilogram of cheese from Valais, 5,000 liters of water are required. When it comes to beef, it's even worse. 1 kilo of beef requires 16,000 liters of water. We should eat less beef, but I like beef, so it's also to find a good balance here between vegetables, fruits, and perhaps also research can help that in agriculture the consumption of water can be reduced, because we don't like people to tell them what they shall eat. But also here, research and the awareness of the consumption of water is very important. Today, over 800 million people in the world still do not have access to clean drinking water. 1.7 billion people live without a regular supply of drinking water, and 1.8 million children under 5 die every year due to a lack of hygiene or clean drinking water. We have to be aware also about these human tragedies. Therefore, Switzerland, together with others, tries to have an SDG, a Sustainable Development Goal, on water, because we have all these different challenges, and I think that's a very good proposal for the SDG of the United Nations. We must work together at all levels and in different aspects of water around the globe. Excellency, ladies and gentlemen, our Sino-Swiss exchange and cooperation will take us forward together in order to tackle the present and future challenges in water management and to lead us to more sustainable ways to handle our natural resources, of which water is one of the most important. I warmly thank all the individuals and these institutions involved in the organization of this meeting, involved in the general efforts in the field of water. It is my sincere wish that all of you will continue and intensify this dialogue and cooperation in the coming years. I wish, therefore, this 6th high-level meeting on water management every success, and I am looking forward to a 7th high-level meeting. Will be again to look back and will give us the opportunity to progress hand in hand with the joint projects. Have a fruitful day together, and I hope you will all stay well here in Crans-Montana in Wallis. Today it's rainy, so it's good to be inside and talk about water. Thank you so much.